Hey guys, Adam Rose from Western Ohio Mortgage, Vice President and Senior Loan Officer here in Sydney, Ohio. This is another episode of the Mortgage Guy podcast, and today we have a guest, Rocco Catanzarite, and hopefully I didn't mess up your name. I feel like the spelling could go a lot of different ways, and this is the one where you get to know about Rocco and some of his business ventures that he's into. And as you guys have been catching on our show, we always ask about an irrational fear. I don't know if the fear that you said you have is actually irrational, because I'm not a big fan myself.
I mean, I feel like that's pretty common, really. Yeah, I mean,
We'll turn this here. You're good. Okay. Right there you go. You're good.
Yeah, I really don't like snakes.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm right there with you.
But, I do kind of have this fear of like always forgetting something. Like I'll have, especially like when I'm doing something like if the business is about to open or something new's coming.
Something you missed.
Yeah, just like anxiety about it.
Yeah.
But other than that, no, there's really nothing out of the ordinary.
Yeah, I had Kevin Fraser Jones on here not too long ago, which you probably know Kevin.
Yeah,
he's always hung out with. And he talked about that same thing, because we're always worried like about customer service, right?
Yeah.
We're like, oh my God, did I forget to say something? Or did I misadvise something? So especially when you're a business owner, you're concerned if you miss something, right? It'll come back and bite you with either a review or someone's pissed off or whatever it is. So I get it. I get that 100%, but I'm on board with you on the snake thing. So like I can watch them from a distance, but I'm not touching them.
Yeah, I'm the same way. So like I was telling you earlier, when we moved into our house there, we've kind of got, like a window in the basement to like create another bedroom.
Yep.
Yeah, egress. So there were some leaves and whatnot in there, and we're cleaning up our landscape, and I saw something move a little bit. And actually, so Emily, my fiance now, I'm like, hey, Emily, get out there. Like, can you take care of this? And she's like, you're the guy. What's going on? But no, I really don't do good with it.
Yeah. So it's a run the other way kind of a thing.
Exactly.
So could you tell us a little bit about yourself? Are you originally from here, some work background and stuff like that?
Yeah. So born and raised Sydney.
Yep.
My parents were entrepreneurs my whole life. Went to Lehman and then Wright State. And then at Edison, I actually never finished. So I don't know if you call it a dropout, but I felt like I was ready to, I wanted to make money.
Right, ready to hit the road, ready to do this thing.
And I really didn't know what I wanted to do, when I was in college. So I kind of felt like, should I wait and, like change my major 6 different times, or should I just get out there and, try something and just kind of trial and error? So I worked a lot of different jobs. A lot of them not fun, like machine shops and landscaping and tons of like manual labor jobs. And then ultimately I ended up working at the gas station for my parents here in town.
K-Rock.
Yeah. So K-Rock, we've got like 500 craft beers, 600 bottles of wine. Really interesting for a gas station. We sell like everything. What we're about is everything but gas, basically. Yeah. So it's very untraditional. I started running the day-to-day there, and craft beer was like, nowadays you go into a bar and everyone has craft beer. There's like one or two. Well, 5, 6, 7 years ago, it wasn't that way. It just wasn't a thing. So there's definitely an opportunity there. Like in our market, it was just extremely underserved. A lot of people were interested in it. So that's kind of how I got started, like forming relationships and whatnot. Right. I was like, this seems like something interesting. I think it's here to stay. So I just started getting a hold of like every brewery that I possibly could. And then we went from like carrying, 40 different kinds to 100, 200, ultimately like 500, 600.
My first experience with small batch brewery and craft beers were Great Lakes.
Yeah.
Great Lakes beers. And that's what I started on.
Uh-huh.
So that's still one of my favorites, actually. I think it's the Edmund Fitzgerald. It's got a little ass to it, but it's really good.
Yeah, it is good. It is good.
So that's really cool that you guys started doing that, because no one around was doing it at that time.
Right.
Right. And then nowadays it feels like, craft bar and kitchens are popping up all over the place.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty popular right now. Yeah. It was just super underserved at that time, so that's kind of the direction I went. Started learning a lot about like creating a brand, running day-to-day business. Yeah.
So that you already had the entrepreneurial spirit. Sorry, because you wanted to hop out of college. It's like I'm ready to go make some money. And then you dove into the restaurant business.
Yeah, there really wasn't. It wasn't planned.
Yeah, really? Okay.
Yeah, not really. So I always had an idea that I wanted to own my own business. I had no idea what it was. It was more, I wanted to own my own business, and whatever kind of any subject that I knew enough about, I was just going to dive into that. It's not that I was like passionate about, food and beverage or anything like that. Knew nothing about it really, other than like, on the beverage side of things, I learned a lot in the beer and wine industry. So that kind of propelled me into Murphy's. So Murphy's really was originally going to be not called Murphy's, and it was going to be new construction here in Sydney.
Mm-hmm.
And it just financially didn't make a whole lot of sense. So Murphy's downtown, it was formerly a couple other restaurants that ended up coming available. And it was just a natural fit. I mean, real estate was pretty cheap downtown at the time.
Yep, it was.
So we went in there and started swinging hammers, remodeled the whole first floor. It was like 4 tenants in one space. We took up like all 6,500 square feet or whatever, remodeled the whole thing, and then opened in like 2019 there.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's one of our favorite lunch spots.
Yeah.
It's one of our favorite lunch spots. So it wasn't planned at all, but it sounds like the experience with K-Rock and getting into the wines and the beers and the craft beers kind of pushed you into that direction. So, because that's the first restaurant you opened, right? It's a craft beer shop. It's a restaurant craft beers.
Right. So I had a good friend at the time who, not at the time a good friend, but through another relationship, met a really good chef down at Pickle Country Club, Keith Taylor. He ended up coming on to consult and kind of like the back of house, with everything with the food, basically. And I was everything but the food.
Right. Okay. The marketing, the business side, and some experience on the beer and wine, because you already set up some relationships with vendors and stuff like that, right?
But really, like looking back, that was the only thing I knew was like the beer and the wine. I thought I knew how to run a business. I thought I understood marketing and branding and hiring and firing and managing these people. I really didn't at the time.
Yeah.
I really just knew the food and beer. And fortunately, because the market was just so underserved, like Murphy's was extremely successful right out of the gate, just because people were like, there's beer, they have cheeseburgers, whatever. There's not a lot of places to go.
Plus, it was one of the only new downtown restaurant at the time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there was only a few selections down there at the time that had been there for a long time, and here comes this new restaurant, and the buzz was everywhere. Yeah. And it's still busy. It's still constantly busy.
We've been super fortunate there. It is. I think at the time there were probably 2 sit-down restaurants downtown.
Mm-hmm.
Downtown was, like Sydney Alive had been put together.
Yep.
And they were starting, and there was this effort being put forward, but I don't think there were a lot of operators. So on this topic, we have, and forgive me if I mispronounce it, but it's Tavolo. Tavolo.
Okay.
Yep.
So in Italian, that's table.
Correct.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Right. So we have Murphy's.
Yep.
And you're like, okay, this thing's starting to run itself.
Mm-hmm.
Ready to hop into another venture. So what brought that about?
So I was actually approached by the building owners that are currently there, and this was maybe 3 months into Murphy's, and young, impatient. As soon as I saw the opportunity, I jumped on it. They were like, hey, this is what we're thinking. We're thinking about buying this building. So Keith Taylor, who I talked about, consulted on Murphy's.
Mm-hmm.
He was looking for new opportunities as well. He's got a big background working in Dayton. So he actually came on board with us, and we partnered together, worked on Tavolo, and that's kind of how everything kind of just fell in place. So those guys approached me, said, hey, here's this restaurant. Keith was available. So I was like, let's just give it a shot.
Yeah.
And again, like, just wait. Probably like Murphy's, like, I'm just a little bit impatient. I like to run and, like, just like, what's next?
We'll figure it out when we get there. Let's go. Let's go. Hit the ground running. I'm the same way. With additional business ventures and bringing additional income streams into this company and all that, I'm just, let's just start it. Let's go. And we'll figure it out as we go.
Right.
Because honestly, you can get to the point where you plan so much, you never pull the trigger. And if you waited too long, you might have missed the opportunity anyways.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they might have just been going right to the next person saying, hey, here's our plan. You want to hop in?
Right.
And you missed that chance. Even though you weren't quite there or ready or planned for it.
Yeah.
It's like, can't miss it.
Yeah.
Right? It's kind of like what we're telling buyers in this market is like, listen, if you want to buy, I know rates are a little bit higher, prices are high. If the house is just right for you, you got to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Right? Buy the house, refi later. So what's it like running 2 businesses? They're extremely close together, but downtown, how's Sydney been with it? They've been pretty friendly to deal with. Don't worry, I don't think we'd have any Sydney workers here that are watching our show. So it's mostly real estate.
Like city, like are you talking like city officials?
How was it? Everything
I would
go
say,
okay?
I can only really speak to like currently because I handle that stuff now, and at that time I really didn't. Ferguson built out that building.
Yep.
They handled the permits, everything like that. I am working closely with the city now though, and they are great to work with. Andrews,
Fantastic.
the new city manager, Andrew's great to work with. So.
And the food service industry has been really hard to keep staffed. I know you went through some struggles during COVID. I mean, you had to shut down. You were back open. You were shut down. You're back open during COVID. How have you kept those places going with your staff? I mean, because I do see a lot of familiar faces at Murphy specifically. There's a couple of people there that I think have been there for a couple of years. Behind the bar. So how are you keeping this staffed? Because everybody's challenged with that right now.
Yeah. Man, it's hard to answer that question.
Yeah.
I think really what we do is we try to create a culture, I'm young, and naturally because that maybe instinctively people think like, oh, it's good, this is going to be fun.
Right.
And we try to make it fun. We also want people to know like we're all about business. We do things a little bit differently than a lot of places do, and that's worked out well for us. But just creating a culture that we're a small team, we work together, we like one another. We want to have fun. We're there to make money, but we want to have fun.
Good.
So that's kind of worked out for us. COVID, though, definitely forced us to work with a small group of people. And it also forced me really, like, as we grew, and it seemed like we were growing and our team was shrinking, very difficult thing. So it really made me rely on other people, something I probably otherwise wouldn't have done. And it also forced me to give people, more responsibility than just count cash at the end of the night. Really like showing someone else like, hey, this is how our business works. This is how we make money. This is how we lose money. And that's been a huge asset now to have that. That's allowed us to do other things.
They understand how the business is operating, and it helps with retention too, right?
Yeah,
like, hey, if I learn this next side of the business, I might be able to get a promotion, or they might give me more responsibility, which leads to more money. And that's great. That's fantastic. I think all small businesses need to do that. Like here, everybody cross trains.
Yep.
Right. Everybody cross trains. So if someone's out, someone can step into that role with no issue whatsoever. I mean, I've even seen you, especially during COVID, out serving food from the kitchen.
I mean,
right? But that looks fun, right? Being the owner is like, hey, your food order's up. It might give you an opportunity to talk to the customer, see how everything's going.
Definitely. So. Yeah, I mean, I think, so we do the same thing. We cross-train everybody. We tell everybody, like, there's no such thing as just, like, your responsibilities and Adam's responsibilities. Like, at the end of the day, it's a team. Like, we make money together. We lose money together, all of that.
Yeah. So with this in mind, we're going to put this to bed on the restaurant stuff because by the way, if you guys haven't been to his restaurants, you've got to go, right? The food's amazing. The service is great. The drinks are awesome. I mean, there's some really cool cocktails over at your Italian place. So highly encourage people to go. But one thing he's been working on, and again, this is that entrepreneurial spirit, getting outside the restaurants, is boots in the street. So what brought that about? Like something just pop in your head is like, I want to do this.
Man, I could talk so long about this thing. So kind of going back, not necessarily just boots in the street, but everything that I've done, and I was talking to Emily about this the other night, was like, I feel like entrepreneurs kind of do things ass backwards, to be totally honest with you. I feel like you come up with an idea and then you make a plan and then you have to find the people to do it. And rather than doing that, I've always like told myself, like, what if I had a team and then found something that fit, like their specialties, like their strong suits. So I'm good friends with Clark Manson. Him and I became friends a while back. For those who don't know, Clark was singer-songwriter in Nashville. Very, very connected in that industry. Really good at forming relationships. So Clark and I were good friends. One day we were playing golf, and I'm like, hey, we should do a concert in Sydney. And he was just kind of like, yeah, whatever. I don't know exactly what he said at first. I know that the second time we talked about it, he's like, I want to do this. So I had Clark, myself, and then Emily, my fiance. So she's pretty good on like the graphic design, marketing side.
Yep.
Super organized, somebody that I really needed. And then Brittany Griffith, she's my general manager at both my restaurants right now. And she kind of manages all the people. She has access to a fairly large staff. And she's very, very organized as well. So I'm like, you know what? I think we have the right team here to pull something like this off. So let's do it. And originally it was We didn't have a name for it, anything like that. Nico Moon had just played a country concert.
He put on a hell of a show.
He did,
we talked about it.
We did. He just crushed it for
He
40,000 people.
Awesome.
So Clark actually brought that up, and he's like, I don't know if there's better marketing, like, to sell a guy in this area. He just did it. So what about him? So we get going, and this was supposed to be a smaller thing. It was supposed to be 1,500 people downtown there on the street. We had a smaller budget for sure, and we just kind of wanted to test the waters, see if people were interested in that kind of thing. And it turned into like more than double what originally it was, in terms of people, the budget, everything we were going to do. And we were just like, let's just go for it, So we got Nico on board, Jackson Dean. He recently got New Male Arts of the Year, he was nominated for. And then Chase McDaniels, a young kid, but he's been doing well in Ohio. And we got some sponsors on, yourself being one of them. And so with that, then we went out, we found an alcohol partner, and we were like, let's do this thing. So we put it all in writing, sent the money out, and just got the ball rolling. And it's been great so far.
Yeah, I think people are super excited, right? I mean, they are crazy excited. I mean, there's really no concerts around here unless you're going to the Rose or you're waiting for the one event a year out of country concert. That's all there is.
It's definitely a void that we wanted to fill, And it's not just specific to concert. I think entertainment in general, there's just such a lack, And we felt like this was something that filled that void. Yeah, it just made good sense.
And it brings it downtown. It brings more business, right, to all the downtown restaurants and venues and everything that's going on around there. Another restaurant down there is doing an after-hours party even.
Yeah.
I mean, you can just feed off of it. And it's super exciting. I'm super excited that you actually reached out to me about sponsoring the event. My wife's super excited to go. I'm bringing my my processor, Kayla, which you've met, and Kylie out front. You know her.
Yep.
And we're going to be in the VIP section. We're pumped for it.
Yeah.
And he puts on a hell of a show, and we're super excited about it. So, are there any tickets left anywhere?
There are a few. We're under 100 general admission left.
Okay.
So we're looking at attendance right now, like 2,900 people.
Okay.
You can buy tickets online, bootsandstreet.com. Social media kind of has all the updates, everything that you need to know for the event.
And we'll blast that, guys. If you're watching the YouTube video, we will make sure that is on there so you can click a link and fill up and get the rest of those tickets. So Boots and the Street is just in that's almost 2 weeks.
2 weeks from.
Oh my God!
A week
from
this Saturday. Coming quick.
It's Are you ready?
I'm getting a little nervous. Yeah. Well, because I feel like
what? Yeah. How much time do you have to set up?
Very little, because it's literally in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
So
because I know where you told me where the stage is being placed. I'm like,
yep.
They got to shut down that street. So how much time do they give you?
Oh, very little. So it's the street downtown there closes at 4 p.m. on Friday. The stage is coming at 4 p.m. The fencing is coming at 4 p.m. Everything's coming
you've got less than 24 hours.
Yeah. So it's just like all hands on deck.
You might miss the show. You're going to be so tired. You're going to be up all night.
I might. Yeah. We'll be setting up all day Friday and have it just in time for Saturday. So.
All right. Well, everybody's super excited about it. I see a lot of buzz on social media. So on this, what else you got going on? Anything new? Anything?
Yeah.
What are you working on? Because you're obviously, based off the conversations that we've had, you're constantly moving to this next level, this next step, this next project. So
right.
What do you got?
So I can't really directly say, but we're looking at a lot of different things. This music event, Boots in the Streets, opened a lot of doors. A lot of good relationships have been formed there, and we're definitely going to grow, that business and that brand. It might happen in other communities as well, maybe close by and maybe not close by, but it's definitely something that we think we can do elsewhere and do successfully. Along with that, I don't know how much I can say right now. But we're working on other things. There's a lot of stuff coming. There's a lot of stuff coming in Sydney and the surrounding area.
All right,
for sure.
All right. So we won't get too detailed. I'm sure you'll make a big announcement.
We will. Yeah.
Kind of like when you guys did the Boots in the Street original post with the silhouette, I immediately guessed who it was.
The
hat and the shirt sleeve. I'm like, that's Nico Moon, because I feel like that's the outfit he wore to country concert.
Yeah.
And I Googled it and I found the photo. I'm like, I knew it. I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
But I that's that's when we were all about it. So
Yeah.
the only thing that's conflicting with me is it's baseball season, and we have a preseason tournament that Saturday. So not that I like to lose, but I hope we don't
Right.
go too far in the tournament because it's going to cause some problems.
Yeah,
for
it's gonna be a
us.
long day.
It's going to be a long day.
No doubt about it.
Very good. And the last thing I always ask, just in case you have one, do you have any kind of crazy industry-related story that's happened that you're allowed to share?
Yeah. So I can think of one in particular. We had a night before Thanksgiving party at Murphy's, maybe in like 2020, right before COVID, 2019.
That's the
Right
biggest
there.
party night of the year, isn't it?
Biggest drink night of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like mentally every year I just try to prepare for that because things just, like in a bar, like think of if you have like a dinner party and your whole house is full, your house is just destroyed after.
Yeah,
you know what I
absolutely.
mean? So it was late that night. I actually wasn't there. I was working at Tavolo. The manager at the time got a hold of me and was like, hey, 911, you need to get over here. So I went over there. Anyway, this guy, I'm not going to say his name because everybody knows him.
Yeah.
He's extremely intoxicated, walks back to the bathroom and ripped the urinal off the wall, flooded the whole restaurant.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It was unbelievable.
So,
Yeah.
So restaurants down or restrooms down and
Oh no, we closed.
just completely closed.
Yeah,
it.
everybody had to get out. Like we had no running water.
Oh
So,
my God.
It was a total,
Oh yeah, because it depends where that shutoff is, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh jeez.
It was a total nightmare.
Did you send him a bill?
I did. Actually, well, I didn't even have to. The funny thing is his wife called me
Oh yeah.
the next day and was like, I'm going to kill this guy, whatever. And she was like, let us know how much we owe you. And he came down the next day and cut me a check.
I'll be damned.
Yeah.
So he realized he did wrong. He's
Yeah.
trying to make right. That's
Yeah.
good. That's good. Well, I really appreciate your time today, Rocco.
thanks
We're
for
going
having
to get
me.
this out there, and we'll see if we can't fill up or get those last 100 tickets roughly sold.
Yeah, there we go.
And guys, it's a great event coming up. Again, it's on May 6th, Saturday, May 6th, Boots in the Street. And don't forget to try out all of his awesome restaurants downtown. And we appreciate you guys stopping by. Remember, if you're watching the video, click it, like it, love it, share it with your friends. Subscribe to YouTube. Check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And we will see you next week.